17 people confessed to crimes they never committed. Not under threat, not in court, just over a phone call. Tonight, you'll see how it was done. You believe confessions mean guilt. You trust authority. You think innocent people don't admit to crimes they didn't commit. You're wrong, and somewhere, someone is counting on that. March 15th. Sarah Chen was making coffee when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. The voice was calm, professional, federal investigator, Financial Crimes Division, routine inquiry about her business accounts. Sarah owned a small bakery, no federal business, no major transactions, but the voice had her social security number, her mother's maiden name, details only the government should know. 20 minutes later, Sarah was crying into her kitchen table, confessing to tax evasion she never committed. The confession was recorded, legally binding, completely voluntary. Sarah had never cheated on her taxes, not once. 2 weeks later, different city. David Martinez, insurance adjuster, 12 years clean record. Same phone call, different crime. This time, it was insurance fraud, a case from 2019. David couldn't remember every claim from 2019. Nobody could, but the caller could. Policy numbers, client names, exact dollar amounts. David started doubting his own memory. Within an hour, he was admitting to falsifying documents he'd never seen. 2 confessions. 2 innocent people. Same impossible phone call. How do you make someone confess to something that never happened? The method is elegant, terrifying, and it starts with a simple fact. Authority doesn't need to be real to feel real. You receive a call. The voice knows things about you that strangers shouldn't know. Your address, your employer, your recent purchases. They don't threaten you directly. They don't need to. Instead, they build a cage of inevitability around your mind. First, they establish urgency. This call is your only chance to cooperate. After this, everything gets formal, legal, expensive. Then, they introduce evidence you can't verify, documents you've never seen, transactions you can't remember, witnesses you've never met. Your memory starts to feel unreliable. Maybe you did forget something. Maybe you made a mistake. They offer you a way out, a simple confession, a minor penalty, nothing compared to what happens if you fight this thing in court. And fighting means lawyers, means publicity, means explaining to your family why federal agents are asking questions. Confessing means it goes away quietly. Compliance feels safer than resistance. So you confess. And somewhere in a basement office, a recording device stops, and your voice becomes evidence of a crime that exists only in that recording. Sarah's confession reached the district attorney's office on a Wednesday. An assistant prosecutor reviewed the audio file. Clear admission of guilt. Case closed. No one investigated whether the tax evasion actually occurred. Why would they? She confessed. David's confession went to his insurance company. Within 48 hours, he was terminated. No appeal process for voluntary admissions of fraud. The system worked exactly as designed. Confessions simplified everything. Guilt was established. Justice was served. Except justice was served to nobody. The crimes existed only in the confessions. 3 months, 17 victims, all different backgrounds, all different alleged crimes. Tax evasion, insurance fraud, embezzlement, identity theft, all confessed, all recorded, all completely fabricated. But Sarah Chen saved her phone records. And phone records don't lie. The number that called her was registered to a prepaid service purchased with cryptocurrency, activated from a coffee shop in Portland. No federal building in Portland houses a financial crimes division. Sarah began to doubt her doubt. The investigation took 6 weeks. Federal agents traced the phone service to a shared workspace downtown. Security cameras showed a man in his 30s, average height, unremarkable face. He worked alone, paid cash for everything, never used the same coffee shop twice. His computer equipment was sophisticated but not unusual. Voice modulation software, caller ID spoofing tools, database access he shouldn't have had. Everything he needed to become any authority figure you'd believe. When they arrested him, Marcus Webb was eating lunch at his kitchen table. No dramatic chase, no standoff. He cooperated fully, almost seemed relieved. His apartment contained 17 audio files, 17 confessions, 17 crimes that never happened. Webb had spent 2 years perfecting his technique. He never asked for money, never demanded payment to make problems disappear. He simply collected confessions the way other people collect stamps. The confessions themselves were the product. Proof that innocent people would admit to anything if you pressed the right psychological buttons in the right sequence. Webb called it truth extraction. He'd proven it worked on 17 test subjects. But Webb was just the proof of concept. Sarah got her job back. David's termination was reversed. The other 15 victims had their records cleared. But their confessions still exist, still sound completely genuine, still prove that the gap between innocence and admission is smaller than you think. And somewhere, someone else is studying Webb's method, refining it, scaling it. Because Webb answered the wrong question. He proved innocent people will confess to crimes that don't exist. But he never asked the question that matters. If a system can force truth out of the innocent, what does guilt even mean?